Hello, everyone, and welcome to the National Academy of Inventors ScholarShare webinar series. My name is Jade Stewart, and I am the Director of the National Academy of Inventors. For those who may not know, the NAI is a member organization comprising U.S. and international universities, government agencies, and research institutes with over 4,000 individual inventor members worldwide. The NAI is one of 3 inventor recognition organizations that partner with and have the full support of the United States Patent and Trademark Office. It was founded in 2010 at the University of South Florida with a mission to recognize and encourage inventors with patents issued from the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, enhance the visibility of academic technology and innovation, encourage the disclosure of intellectual property, educate and mentor innovative students, and translate the inventions of its members to benefit society. NAI is committed to using its platform to help minimize barriers and promote an inclusive environment through its programs and events. I encourage you to visit our website to learn more about NAI's various programs, including a mentorship platform commonly referred to as GAIN, which is the Global Academic Inventors Network, our multidisciplinary journal, Technology and Innovation, our webinar library hosted on YouTube, and our new video series, which features early stage innovation taking place at our member institutions. Currently, NAI's recognition programs, fellows, and senior members have over 1,300 inventors, including many Nobel laureates and recipients of distinguished honors spanning more than 250 institutions from across the globe. We are currently accepting nominations for our Fellow and Senior Member Awards, and for more information, please contact me or visit our website, academyofinventors.org. So today's Fireside Chat is titled Driving Academic Discovery with Elizabeth Dougherty from the USPTO and President Steve Currall of University of South Florida. Elizabeth, our moderator, is the Eastern Region Outreach Director at the USPTO. In this capacity, she carries out the strategic direction of the Undersecretary of Commerce for Intellectual Property and Director of the USPTO, and is responsible for leading the USPTO's East Coast stakeholder engagement. Focusing on the region and actively engaging with the community, Elizabeth ensures the USPTO's initiatives and programs are tailored to the region's unique ecosystem of industries and stakeholders. So please join me in welcoming our moderator, Elizabeth Dougherty. Thank you.
Thank you, Jade, and greetings from the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, America's innovation agency. I'm honored and pleased to join President Currall in this conversation today to highlight his extraordinary career in academia, leadership, innovation, and entrepreneurship, to learn more about USF's approach and commitment to being a center of innovation, and last but certainly not least, the role of the National Academy of Inventors housed at USF, and which serves as a global organization spurring, supporting, and celebrating academic invention, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Dr. Steven Currall is the 7th president of the University of South Florida. He brings to the presidency a broad range of leadership experience at both public and private research universities. He has held appointments at institutions in the Association of American Universities, the group of top research universities in the US and Canada, including the University of California, Davis, Rice University, and the University of Chicago. Dr. Currall has conducted research and taught for 3 decades on organizational psychology topics such as innovation, emerging technologies, negotiation, and corporate governance. He is a fellow of the American Association for the Advancement of Science, elected for the study of societal impacts of science and engineering, and at the invitation of the U.S. President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology, he served as a member of the Nanotechnology Technical Advisory Group. President Currall is also currently a member of the Council on Competitiveness, a group of university presidents and business leaders that bolster America's investments in talent, technology, innovation, and infrastructure. He is a commissioner in the group's flagship effort, the National Commission on Innovation and Competitiveness Frontiers. President Currall earned a PhD in organizational behavior from Cornell University, a master's degree in social psychology from the London School of Economics and Political Science, and a bachelor's degree in psychology, cum laude, from Baylor University. And folks, that's just the tip of the iceberg of President Currall's experience and expertise. Before turning to our dialogue today, I'd also encourage you to visit the USF webpage and YouTube channel to view the video, Getting to Know USF President Steve Currall. So I'd like to begin our conversation today with asking the first question. And our first question for President Currall is talking about the book, your book, Organized Innovation, a blueprint for renewing America's prosperity, and where you see the academic innovation landscape right now. President Currall.
Well, Elizabeth, it's great to see you again, and thank you so much for having me today, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm delighted to talk about organized innovation. This was a project that was funded by the National Science Foundation that was designed to better articulate how university leaders, how business leaders can coalesce researchers and entrepreneurs and other innovators around the idea of taking new products to the marketplace. So the idea is that it is possible to orchestrate, if you will, or kind of engineer the innovation process. Now, that's not to say that we want to over control innovation, because there's a lot of creativity involved, and often that's very unstructured. But what our thesis in the book was really trying to articulate how leaders can orchestrate innovation, how they can create the conditions that foster innovation in universities and businesses, and involve the support of governmental agencies like the USPTO, of course, plays a very, very important role. And so it's really about the combination of those three types of institutions, higher ed, business, and government institutions, that really is historically been shown to be a great driver of economic development and opportunity.
Excellent. I can only imagine that the book has been a bestseller. To provide that kind of insight to how to create cross-functional teams and to bring diverse layers of innovation together for success. I can only imagine how useful that is for all of us who are working to start and build and grow a business, or to work in the academic space, or in government. Turning to our next question, President, in your interview last November for the National Academy of Inventors Journal of Technology and Innovation, you discussed your start amid the campus consolidation, which sounded like a huge undertaking. In March, USF was then faced with the unprecedented uncertainty of COVID-19 and the possible impact to the university. Would it be safe to say that this has been a very interesting first year for you as the USF president?
Indeed, it is safe to say that. And the other word that I often use is invigorating. It's been an invigorating year. So you mentioned consolidation. So when I arrived here in July of 2019, I entered a process that had actually begun in 2018 to consolidate or merge 3 campuses into one single accredited university. So prior to consolidation, we had the University of South Florida Tampa campus, St. Petersburg campus, and Sarasota Manatee campus. Those were all 3 separately accredited institutions. And so state law passed in 2018 required us to consolidate those campuses or merge them. And so that was the first big project, not to mention all the other normal things that one does when one enters a new leadership position like this. But the USF community really came together and coalesced around the idea of consolidation. And so it's really been a great testament to the community. And our deadline for submitting the documentation on consolidation was March 15th. So, perfect timing. Just as we were wrapping those plans up, then of course COVID-19 emerged as a challenge that we're all facing in higher ed and in society in general. So it's really been an unusual journey, but it's also been very exciting and great to have an opportunity to take the university forward.
Wow. Talking about testing your mettle the minute you walk in the door. From frying pan into fire.
Right.
It does sound challenging, but it does also sound exciting to be at the forefront of that kind of change, but also a change that I'm sure has led to new growth. So it sounds like whereas some presidents get to walk in and maybe test the waters and get to learn slowly about the organization they're joining, it sounds like you were really put to the test right from the very first day.
Well, that's right. And just to add a little bit more, part of what I had to do very quickly was get acquainted with our state government officials, so legislators and the governor's office and so on. And so I was thrust into that, but I really enjoy that. I really enjoy engaging with them. And so a little bit of a crash course, especially in autumn of 2019, but I really have enjoyed working with them.
Excellent. Well, certainly I'm sure there will be many more challenges to come, but you've certainly faced two very large ones. President Currall, you're no stranger to university leadership, particularly given the extensive career that you've had. But as well, you've always been a champion for the importance of innovation and research at academic institutions. In your role as president, what is your strategic vision for USF as it relates to innovation and research? And does that vision have specific goals or benchmarks for university patenting? Of course, something near and dear to my heart at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Because as you and many on this webinar today, on this fireside chat, we recognize the economic value that patents can bring to a university.
Well, absolutely, Elizabeth, and I'll just say a little bit about my own career journey, so which will bring me back to answering your question. So in the late 1990s, I began to read material on the role of universities in regional economic development, and of course one of the primary examples of that has been the Silicon Valley dynamic in California. So I began to read that literature, and I got very excited in reading the case, for example, of the role of Stanford in the development of Silicon Valley. And that I got very energized about that, in part because I was interested in entrepreneurs and early stage investors and venture capitalists and angel investors. But what I was even more interested in was the role of the university in job creation. And so I became very fascinated with this role of the university. And of course, traditionally, university is about education. It's about science and discovery. It's about creative activities, and also public service and working with government agencies and nonprofits. But this additional dimension of the possibility that a university might actually create upward economic mobility and economic opportunity is something that I've been very excited about since those days in the late 1990s. And at a number of the institutions I've been at, I've been working to position the institution in a way that we are developing intellectual property, we are creating startup companies that are fundable, job creation, and new products and services coming to the marketplace. So I've been really excited and energized by that economic development role. And so that's certainly been a part of my own journey and will be a key element of my efforts here at the University of South Florida.
Excellent. that aspect of economic development and particularly job creation, something that's vital across the nation, well, and in fact vital across the globe. So to take that perspective and to analyze the university's place in that ecosystem, really, really significant. And I'm sure the community of South Florida is already seeing the impacts. In fact, can you expand on the current economic impact of USF's research and innovation?
Sure, I'll give you a few figures. Going back to 2016, the university's research and innovation enterprise has had an economic impact of $582 million. Wow. We've added $314 million in direct gross domestic product value, which is a 40% increase since 2016. We've returned over $71 million to the state in state and federal tax revenue. And for me, most exciting is we've sustained 4,000 new jobs, which is also a 35% increase from 2016. So it's just amazing what research and innovation has done at the University of South Florida under the leadership of Paul Sandberg and Jade and others. And so it's really exciting for me to contribute and try to continue to propel that trajectory.
Those are some amazing statistics, and certainly statistics to be incredibly proud of. Amazing statistics, and particularly those, as you mentioned, related to jobs and what the university universe is creating there. Just remarkable, and certainly something to be proud of. As Jade shared when she kicked off our program today, our Fireside Chat is hosted by none other than the National Academy of Inventors, which, as we know, is a remarkable organization created to recognize and encourage academic inventors with patents issued from none other than the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. The NAI enhances the visibility of academic invention, encourages the disclosure of intellectual property, and works to educate and mentor innovative students. And I really love that latter part. In 10 short years, it's achieved a national and global reach into the academic invention and innovation space. So I have to ask President Currall, how often is a university president presented with such a gift as having NAI on campus? And how is the presence and work of NAI at USF brought value to you and the university?
Well, I don't think a university president has ever had this kind of gift. And I'm just one of the many things I'm so excited about regarding the University of South Florida is the NAI and its visibility, its presence on our campus, and its ability to really elevate the university being known as a source of innovation and intellectual property, startup companies, partnerships with large existing corporations. In fact, just this last academic year, we announced the Jabil Innovation Institute. So this is a partnership with Jabil Incorporated, which is one of the large Fortune 500 companies here in the Tampa Bay region. And so it's just an example of another dimension of what we're doing in research and innovation and how we're leveraging the resources of the NAI. So we're really trying to create that. You mentioned ecosystem a minute ago. We're really trying to further expand and deepen our commitment to the university's role in creating that kind of innovation ecosystem where people see the university as a human capital magnet, where they can come in as students or they come in as alumni or as visitors and friends and partners and donors. They really see the university as this hub, this meeting ground, this platform for engaging with others around new innovative ideas and new products and services. And so we really want to capitalize on that opportunity to be a human capital magnet. And that's so important for creating the ecosystem and advancing that pipeline of movement of discoveries down the process of becoming products, and so it's just an amazing asset to have the National Academy of Inventors here at the university. It helps elevate our agenda to create jobs and economic value. So it's really had an amazing impact. And one of the main reasons why I was so attracted and excited about joining the University of South Florida community was the presence of the National Academy of Inventors.
Oh, fantastic. For any of our participants who haven't had the opportunity to visit the campus there at the University of South Florida in lovely Tampa, I would strongly encourage you to do so. I have had the unique opportunity, and just as President Currall has said, not only are the facilities, but the presence of NAI, the leadership, the academia, you can feel it the minute you step on campus. It really has created a hub in the community, but also a hub in the academic world, one that's setting a template for others to follow. It's really quite remarkable. You know, we started our conversation today addressing perhaps the two big challenges that you started your USF career with, and talked a little bit about the consolidation of the 3 Florida campuses that you were able to successfully bring together. Let's return to that second challenge, the one that we're all still living under right now, and that's the pandemic facing the nation and in fact our globe. How have you and the USF leadership and community sought to meet the challenges presented by the COVID-19 pandemic? Has it been through innovation creation? Has it been through how you work with and deal with your students and translate into this new normal? I'm sure there's so many various aspects.
Well, it's extremely serious, of course. People are losing their lives. There's been a great deal of job destruction. So we were talking earlier about the importance of job creation. So even more important now in these current challenges that we can help create new jobs just to sustain our economy. And when we were looking at the initial data in, say, early March regarding COVID-19, it became pretty clear to us that this was going to be a huge global challenge. I was looking at some early data out of China, and it struck me the rate at which the virus was diffusing out within that community. And of course, with severe health implications for many people who get the virus. So we saw the data early on and realized it was going to be a big challenge. And so together with my colleagues, Paul Sandberg and others, what we decided to do was to act quickly. And just in the matter of a week or two, we launched the USF COVID-19 Rapid Response Grant Program. So we launched this in April, and it was an initiative that we felt was very important for the university to be quick in its response and get an early research seed funding program underway, so our faculty, our brilliant faculty, can begin to try to tackle this problem, and we can support society, contribute to society through our innovative process. And so that program has done very, very well. It's involved over 400 faculty researchers who essentially, many of whom who dropped what they were currently doing and just pivoted, turned their focus onto COVID-19 to try to develop innovations. There have been a number of exciting developments in that area. We're doing some very important basic life science research on the efficacy of testing and understanding the biology of the virus and how it's transmitted. We've also had a very successful project that came out of USF Health and the Morsani College of Medicine, and that was out of our Department of Radiology, Dr. Summer Decker developed a model for using 3D printing to manufacture the nasal swabs that are so important to testing for COVID-19. And so we've produced tens of thousands of those nasal swabs that we've then handed over to healthcare delivery institutions in our region and beyond. And so that's just one example of the innovation process coming out of our faculty, out of medicine in that case, but also a lot of collaborations with engineering. We've started to manufacture the clear plastic face coverings in the College of Engineering. Even the College of Arts at the University of South Florida has developed images and animation to show gratitude to healthcare workers. So we've really had a tremendous response by our faculty and staff, and it's just a testament to their commitment to giving back to society. Going back to the Rapid Response Grant Program, we've funded 28 projects, and we'll be funding another round of about 15 of those coming up. We've already filed 30 patents. So Elizabeth, that's good news. We're creating more work for you and your colleagues as a result of this. So we're already developing a lot of intellectual property. And so really is kind of a model for how the university can contribute back to society and be quick in its response, whether it's COVID or any other challenge that society might face. So we've kind of created a template, if you will, for how the university can redirect its efforts and its great human capital and resources to address societal need.
That's incredible. Very incredible. You talk about standing and rising to the challenge. It's remarkable what the university has done. The university really is on the forefront of addressing this significant challenge. And addressing it in so many different ways. It's remarkable the diversity of ideas and opportunities that you all have sought to address the present pandemic. And I have to think that your Rapid Response Grant Program is incredibly unique. I regularly speak with universities and am not aware right off the top of my head of many others that are standing up a program like that, which can really so quickly activate people with funding to in fact do some of this vital research and do this manufacturing. So certainly my hat's off to you and those who live in the South Florida area, but again, across the nation and across the globe, because you are in fact coming up with solutions. USF is truly a problem solver. Oh, and by the way, thank you for.
I'm glad to hear, Elizabeth, that you haven't seen too many of these other programs around the country. So that's great to know that we're blazing the trail a little bit there, and just another testament to the resourcefulness of our colleagues here at the university.
Well, and we certainly also applaud USF. We also applaud USF being a frequent flyer with the USPTO. We welcome those 30 applications, and we'll get to them as quickly as possible. For my last question, before we turn to an opportunity for questions from our audience, which we encourage you to start preparing those questions now. President Currall, USF is the 4th largest public university in the state of Florida. It has been included in the top 20 American universities for tech transfer by the Milken Institute, and it has placed 8 in the recent NAI Intellectual Property Owners ranking of top 100 public research universities. To achieve this kind of recognition and prominence, many factors come into play. In this vein, how do you ensure that USF continues to set standards and best practices which continue to set it apart from other academic institutions, or set USF as a model for other universities?
It's a fascinating question and topic, and universities, as you know, Elizabeth, are incredibly complex institutions. And the drivers of any university success are faculty strength, the quality of our undergraduates, the quality of our graduate students, our strategic partnerships with other institutions, such as corporations or other healthcare institutions. So all of these factors are interdependent. So it's kind of a fascinating morass of interdependencies. And so oftentimes I'm asked, well, what is, if you had to say there's one important or key driver to that whole system of interdependencies, what is it? So my answer is that, and this is something we're emphasizing at the University of South Florida, is faculty excellence. So if we have great, productive faculty that we recruit and we develop and we retain, our students will have a great experience. If our students have a great experience, they're successful in their careers, they're successful as citizens, they're contributors to society, and they come back and they support the university. And so there's this cyclical nature of the interdependencies, and what we're trying to do is to create a virtuous cycle where all of those factors are reinforcing each other. But again, coming down to perhaps the key or one of the key drivers, and that's faculty excellence. So we're trying to do a better and better job of recruiting, developing, rewarding, and retaining our faculty. And that's then going to drive the degree to which we're successful in innovation and discovery, and many of them are involved in entrepreneurial activities. And so we're really trying to support our faculty and invest more resources into them and their programs in the hope that drives that virtuous cycle that I was referring to a few minutes ago. But there are a lot of other metrics that we follow. Of course, U.S. News and World Report rankings, and by the way, I can't resist the temptation to remind our viewers that USF is the fastest rising public or private university in the country since 2010. So we've really got great momentum and great upward trajectory. So we follow those rankings. There are many other rankings in the state of, or metrics in the state of Florida that matter a lot to us because we have performance-based funding here in the state. So many of those are around student success metrics, student retention, graduation rates, and so on. So we place a lot of emphasis on student success metrics and research expenditures and patents created and companies formed and so on. So we're not afraid to be metric based at the University of South Florida. We understand that quantitative metrics are not everything, and there's a lot that's qualitative about the degree to which we have an intellectual culture on our campus. So there's a lot that's not quantitative in the success of a university. But we also have found it very helpful to focus our attention on performance metrics and really drive toward those. And that process has been very helpful and has really propelled the university forward. So we think we've got both a good focus and a good balance in pursuing these the variety of performance metrics that we emphasize here.
Well, thank you, President Currall. Obviously, there is a lot of complexity that goes into building the recipe for success at a university. But I think your focus on faculty excellence is really is key, because I think many of us, if not most of us, can think back to our academic career, no matter how long or how short it is, to think about that teacher that had an impact on who we are today, on perhaps the career we chose, the profession we follow, who helped to shape and form us. So faculty excellence, of course, is got to be that key component. But again, there are so many other factors that go into the equation. All right, so this is the exciting portion of the hour. This is where we turn it over to our audience, and the sky's the limit. I understand President Currall enjoys the difficult question. So we were pretty easy on him with these prepared questions. So this is the opportunity to really get to know him and to ask that question that you'd love to ask. So I will turn it over to Jody Santora, who will be serving as our audience moderator, and invite Jody to ask or deliver the first audience question.
Thank you, Elizabeth. We've got a number of great questions here, and I'll start with this one. In the midst of the current economic downturn, acquiring funds to catalyze innovative university research and startups is challenging. Do you have any ideas as to how USF and NAI can work together on a national scene?
Well, it's a very interesting point, Jody, and in many ways, COVID-19 has created greater fluidity in the research funding environment, and so in some ways, it has shined a spotlight on the importance of research and development, and the importance of federal support of research and development. And we've seen, of course, a lot of attention that we've all read about in the media about the vaccine development, and there's been massive resources going into that, as there should be. As I mentioned before, the rapid response program that we've developed here is one that hopefully will provide some guidance to other universities, and we've seen a lot of success out of that. And the partnership with NAI is absolutely pivotal. So it's going to be very important that not only is the university community developing the innovations, but that we are getting those to the marketplace. And COVID-19 has created even more urgency for new innovations regarding PPE, vaccines, treatments that are development, clinical trials that we're doing a lot of in USF Health and with Tampa General Hospital. And so it has focused the attention a lot on the challenges that we're facing right now in healthcare. So and that's created a lot of very sudden, quick changes, which are for the best, of course. And so what we need to do is be able to be nimble and adaptive and be responsive to those funding sources, and then ensure that the research funding that we're getting is not only for the research process itself. We've got to ensure that these innovations are getting out into the marketplace where they can be diffused and have a positive impact on folks in our society. So it'll be very important that NAI and USF continue to work hand in hand, and I know that the NAI is very committed to continuing to do that. So we've got a great partner in NAI, and it'll be important for us to, again, quickly get these new innovations into the marketplace.
Thank you. Our next question has a little bit of a different twist to it. It's from a high school STEM teacher. She is interested in helping her students graduate and attend innovative academic institutions. She's asking, what methods do you use to recruit students and staff with innovative mindsets? In what ways do your programs impact students in secondary schools to build more innovative people in the community?
Well, the undergraduate admissions process here includes a consideration of the degree to which graduating high schoolers have been involved in some form of discovery, in working in a high school lab or in some type of community service, being out in the community and helping in a healthcare setting or elder care setting or in preschool or early stage child development. And so the degree to which the applicants to our undergraduate programs have shown some unique commitments in addition to their academic pursuits, which of course are fundamental, but in addition to those, the initiative, the creativeness, innovative approaches really enhance the application into the university. And so we really encourage young people to do that and to be involved in service and innovation to the extent that they can. And those are the kind of students that we want to have here at the University of South Florida. And that's so important, that what the undergraduates bring is so important to the fabric and the culture of the university, because the students actually learn a lot from each other. They're not just learning from faculty, they're learning a lot from each other. And so the extent to which we're successful in bringing together creative, innovative, bright young people, they'll actually help each other, support each other, and that's an important part of the fabric of the university. And coming back to the points we were talking about a minute ago with regard to COVID, it's an important part, that interaction is an important part of the residential experience of a university. And so this is a topic of great consternation and thought and reflection by university leaders, because we're trying to balance the priority of keeping our faculty, staff, and students safe and healthy, and yet we also want to maintain the continuity of our research, of our academic enterprise, and that means continuing to have a residential experience. So what we've done is to offer a mix of both in-person and online instruction, and we're giving our students some degree of choice in whether or not they sign up for in-person or online instruction. And so we think that's important to retain that sense of community, which is so important for us to help people, help our students, our faculty and staff have a meaningful experience of community and support among each other. And so it's very important, the type of student that we admit and that we recruit into the university who can participate that. And then of course, what we're trying to do is to create the structure and the processes that really foster that kind of environment of learning and inquiry and exploration, which involves all members of our community, faculty, students, and staff.
Thank you. Our next question is asking about the new research building that broke ground. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what you see as its primary function?
Well, its primary function is to continue to support the research and innovation engine that we have going now. So this will be another addition to the complex of our research park where research and innovation is. The new building is 120,000 square feet. So it'll have laboratory facilities and office space. It's a $42 million project, so big commitment on our part. And again, we'll create that meeting ground, that place where we can incubate new ideas and new discoveries. And it works. The building will work at the interface of the university and the business community, and even the location of the building reinforces that interface, that boundary. It's right on the edge of the southern edge of our campus on Fowler Avenue, and so it's going to be visible and accessible from outside the university. So it's even designed so it has a certain amount of literal transparency. Well, you'll be able to from the outside look in and see people working, researchers carrying out their tasks, and so we very much wanted to create that permeability in this building because we're trying to foster that engagement with our community, and so this new structure is really going to be a very exciting addition to our facilities, and one that's located at a really central and important part on our location on our campus.
Terrific, thank you. And I believe the targeted completion date is fall of 2021, is that correct?
That's right, exactly.
All right. The next question says, innovation seems to be embedded into the culture at USF. In what ways does USF encourage that? How can other universities and organizations develop a similar environment to encourage innovation?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll go back to my earlier point about faculty excellence and supporting our faculty. So we have financial support. We have a managerial culture that fosters innovation by our faculty members, and so it's a very visible aspect of our culture. And so that's something that I'm very committed to, and the rest of the leadership team is committed to. Our deans are also committed to sending that signal. So certainly creating that kind of environment and culture among our faculty. Also, our student programs are very important. In fact, we have very vibrant entrepreneurial activities in the university and the Mumal College of Business. We're regularly ranked in the top 10 in the country among university research, university entrepreneurship programs. So we're very, very proud of that. And we've had a lot of great funding from our donors in favor of entrepreneurship activities. So, so that's a little bit about our faculty and our students. And we're constantly reaching out, as we are in innovation and research and innovation. We're reaching out to our business partners. I mentioned the Jabil Innovation Institute earlier in my remarks. We're engaging with investors, so many early stage investors, trying to bring them in, trying to create an environment where they really want to come to the University of South Florida and invest their resources in these startup companies. And so again, it's a lot about interdependency. It's about permeability between the boundaries of the university and the business and the financial investor community. So, you know, if I had to kind of sum up how we're doing that, I'd again emphasize this idea of permeability. Permeability across the boundaries of the university with business and with government, state government, federal government, and so on. And that's really one of the main themes in my Organized Innovation book. It's about that permeability. It's about that tripartite interaction, collaboration, partnership among universities, business, and government. And that's really the recipe for creating a culture of innovation on our campus, and that applies to any other campus as well. It's quite a generic dynamic, and so I've urged other university leaders to think about that tripartite engagement across these three different types of institutions.
Thank you very much. Our next question asks about inclusion due to all of the recent racial, gender discrimination and all of that. How do you see USF creating a more inclusive innovation culture, especially women, minorities, etc.?
Mm-hmm. Well, this has been an area of great focus for us, actually for many years, but certainly elevated our commitment in the last couple of months, and so we have a great platform already for diversity. We have amazing racial diversity on our campuses. We also have great socioeconomic diversity, which is something that sometimes gets a little bit overlooked. And one metric that we follow very closely is the percentage of our students who are Pell Grant eligible. So for those of you who are familiar with Pell Grants, you'll know that it is designed to help fund higher education for young people who come from homes and households with very modest financial resources. And so we're proud of the fact that 40% of our undergraduates are Pell Grant eligible. And believe me, that's an astronomically high figure in higher education. And so we're really proud of that socioeconomic diversity. We're very supportive of women entrepreneurs. We have an organization called Women in Leadership and Philanthropy, which is a very successful organization that brings women together, women, many of whom are in business careers, and they support the university. So that's something we're very, very proud of. We're doing a lot to redouble and reinforce our commitment to the Black community. We're engaging with our Office of Institutional Equity to try to recruit more students into the university. We're at about 9 or 10% of our undergraduates are Black at the moment, and so we'd like to elevate that. We'd like to increase that. Hispanic students are a little bit higher at about 15 to 20%. So we'd like to, of course, elevate the proportion that they represent as well. Asian Americans also are a significant proportion, 10 to 15%. So we really have this rich, this amazing fabric of diversity in terms of race, in terms of gender, but also socioeconomic diversity. So it's a huge priority for us. We're also very committed to reaching out to minority-owned businesses, including Black-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, businesses owned and operated by veterans. And we have an Office of Supplier Diversity, which is really one of the leading offices in higher education in the state of Florida. So we're reaching out that way too, because we do a lot of business with the Tampa Bay community. So we want our procurement process to bring in products and services from minority-owned businesses. So we're really trying to emphasize the inclusion of the university and community. We've mentioned community a few times so far, so I'll just say a little bit more about that. Back in October, I launched a task force to develop a new set of principles of community for the university. So this was a group led by Dean Charles Adams of the Genshaft Honors College, and it represented people from all over campus, faculty, staff, students from every racial group. And so they've come up with a set of principles having to do with excellence, with equity, diversity with inclusion, freedom and responsibility, dialogue with respect, and transparency and accountability. And so these are principles that our university community has coalesced around through this task force, and we've distributed that out this spring. And the principles have been very, very well received by our community, and really do a lot to create a social norms for inclusion, respect, being evidence-based in our debates and our discussions and our dialogues. And so we're really just trying to set the tone for our process of engaging with each other and deliberations through these principles of community. So we're working on many fronts to ensure that this is an environment that emphasizes diversity and inclusion, and we feel like we're making good progress, but there's a lot more work to do, and we're very committed to continuing those efforts to be even more welcoming to everyone who's in the university community.
Thank you. It looks like we have time for one final question. Dr. Currall, how do you define success in the realm of education, research, and leadership at USF?
Okay, well, that's an easy one to end on. Well, there's, I talked earlier about metrics relating to research. I've talked about student success and admissions. You mentioned leadership. So I'll just perhaps emphasize that for a moment. Leadership is about crafting a vision for an organization and then coalescing people around that vision. And leadership is very much a service activity. I believe that I work in service to the faculty, staff, and students, and our alumni and our donors. And so leadership is really a service activity. It's not really about oneself. It's the ability to help other people flourish in their jobs. And so that's a big part of my job, is to help other people flourish, to coach them, to develop them, to reward them. And a lot of what I do, just saying a few words about my particular role, boils down to about 3 categories of activity. So I'm involved in helping to craft the strategy for the university, our vision, our direction. Second, I'm very much committed to building community and doing what I can do to further knit together our faculty, staff, and students and other friends to be a mutually supportive environment. And the third piece in my role is about resources. So I'm frequently seeking financial resources, whether it be philanthropic or state or federal funding. So again, for my role, it's about strategy, community, and resources. And I'm reminded of a great quote from Maya Angelou about leadership. And she said that it's not about what you say, it's not even about what you do, it's how you make people feel. And so what we want to do as leaders of the university, we want to help people feel valued and being part of our team and part of our effort to further elevate the university. So a lot of our time and effort is about coalescing people around our vision and helping them, ensuring that they feel valued, and to confirm their role as having a meaningful position in our organization to take the university forward.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm going to turn it back over to Elizabeth.
Thank you, Jody. And what a fantastic group of questions to end on today, especially the last 2. Having the opportunity to focus on the diversity efforts at the university and how you're recognizing the importance of all types of diversity, whether it's ethnically, gender, geography, financially, because those all do come into play. And the fact that you are working to enhance that diversity to make for a much richer fabric for the university. And then, of course, your work as a leader in building these principles of community. It makes USF sound like such an inviting location. So again, if any of you on the call today have not been, I encourage you to do so. It's my pleasure, although my sad pleasure at this point in time, to bring our program to a close. But I do have the fond pleasure of thanking those who participated. So on behalf of the National Academy of Inventors and the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, I want to thank all of you who attended today and for those great audience questions. The valuable insights and experiences shared throughout our dialogue have given us all takeaways for use in our respective endeavors and environments. I also want to thank the NAI and USF teams who worked collaboratively together to make today's event happen seamlessly, which isn't always easy in a virtual world. And last but not least, I want to thank President Currall for sharing his time and expertise today. As John Quincy Adams once said, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. As evidenced by his lengthy career, professional accomplishments, and his current position, President Steve Currall is doing just that. We're fortunate to have him at the helm of USF and as an integral part of the NAI community. Best wishes to all and best of health to each and every one of you. Take care and thank you for tuning in today.
Thank you.